We're here today at the famous Valencia racetrack with a lovely collection of classic Porsche 911s. This car is the very first 911. The first 911 was actually, the pre-series was made in 1963, but this car is from 1966. There aren't many differences, but it's a 2-litre carburetted 130 horsepower car weighing about 850 kilos. The new car we're here to drive today is the 7th generation, known as the 992. This car weighs almost twice as much as the original 911 and has 450 horsepower. Now that is 50% more than the 911 Turbo 3.3 of 1978. So if you think about it, today's normal Carrera is a lot more powerful, a lot more faster, and yet more economical and less polluting than the famous iconic 911 Turbo. For those of you who don't know Walter, two-time World Rally Champion, Walter has also been the guy who signs off every new Porsche since officially 1994. But in reality, Walter was also involved with Porsche way before then, and he helped to develop the four-wheel drive system of the 959 and the 964, which came out in 1989, the first Carrera 4. Walter, can you please tell us about your life with Porsche, evolving all these wonderful generations of 911?
Yeah, it was a very interesting time, I tell you, and especially if you compare the 67 car to this car, it is a lot of details which have improved by step. Every new car we were sure that will be the best Porsche ever has built, but the next one was coming. And today we're standing here on the 992 and you say, what you can make better? No way to make something better than before. The old car had absolutely no electronic at all. This car is full of electronic, and the improvement is only possible because we have now the possibility to use electronic, because to make a sport stiff car with a high performance and make a car with comfort is a big difference. 20 years ago I said it's no way. Either I make a sporty car, I make a comfortable car. But this is a result. We have here a more sporty car than ever before, and we have more comfort than ever before. But it is only possible with the new suspension, which is designed with a lot of electronic, with new valves on the suspension. We have a wider front track, and all these details they have made step by step, from the G model to the 993, 964, 997. But I think today everybody who is sitting in a Porsche, he is able to go safe very fast. And that was the most important thing which we had in our head, to make a fast, safe, sporty car.
Would you say, Walter, that 55 years of evolution helps? Because with the competitors, they stop a model, they're starting from scratch each time, and they never quite get there before the next model change. But with practically 5.5 decades of evolution, it's given Porsche a much better chance of getting the product absolutely right.
That's right. Look, this car, where is the engine? In the back. Look here, the engine is still in the back. And that was, of course, is a lot of experience which Porsche has learned, because finally the shape is the same on the old car like on the new one. Only aerodynamic, all small details have improved, and I think that was one important thing for Porsche to improve so much and so fast and come today to this perfect product.
In terms of driving dynamics, I mean, some people have said with each generation of car, and this is not just about 911s, this is about every modern car, with more electronics, electric power steering, this and that, people are saying, well, there's always a layer of isolation. The car feels less tactile, less analog than before. How has Porsche managed to engineer that feeling back into the cars? Because I felt it this morning, this car talks to you like a lot of modern cars simply don't.
Yeah, of course. First of all, one step which makes this car fast and easy to drive is also the tires. The tires has improved so much in the last years, and Porsche was always taking care to get all this feeling, the steering. If you're sitting in this car, you have a feeling of steering like in the old car without power steering. Mm-hmm. You can feel everything, and that is something which the engineers in Porsche understand very well, to get all this feeling in the car, and the car is never a synthetic thing. It's still a manual car, which it was 50 years ago, and that is the position of sitting in the car. All these details gives you the information that you are a part of this car. You are not sitting on a car, you're sitting in the car. And that gives you this fantastic feeling.
So really it's man and machine in perfect harmony,
yes,
to use an old phrase. Yeah. Would you say, Walter, that the difference between Porsche engineers and engineers of normal car companies is that every Porsche engineer is actually a car enthusiast, is a good driver, and is fanatical about what he's doing?
From my experience, you know, I was involved with many brands, but coming to Weissach and talking to the engineers, everybody of them, his life is Porsche, nothing else. And I think that is one secret of the success of Porsche, that people they live Porsche. That is every day, and even if he goes home in the evening after his work is finished, he still has Porsche in his mind, and that is the result. And I hope it's getting on with this feeling. We find also in the future the same people which are only thinking day and night what I can do, that Porsche is a better car.
In fact, more than that, I found that even engineers who have retired and left Porsche, I mean, for instance, my old friends Roland Kussmaul, for instance, that's
I was just thinking to Roland.
And Jürgen Barth.
I still have contact with Roland every 2 weeks, and we're talking about Porsche. He is following all things, and he phoned me and said, listen, what do you think about this one? That was the success of Porsche, these people.
Indeed. And as I said, these guys are great drivers too, you know, Paris-Dakar, whatever. I mean, Roland Kussmaul was the guy who took me round Weissach, literally sideways through every corner in the 993 GT2.
No, he was the best mechanic I ever meet. He was the best engineer, and he was the best driver. You know, and that if you have people like Roland Kussmaul, the result must be a car like this.
The Porsche 911 is the everyday sports car, much more so than its Italian counterparts. This is the reason why 911s around the world are often used as everyday cars. The highest mileage 964 RS I know of has actually done 500,000 kilometers on its original engine and gearbox, driven every day. Now that's an amazing achievement. Fact is, the latest 911, the 992 that we're driving today, has even more of that everyday usable factor, with the improved active damping, which basically is a new development from Bilstein. This car is even more comfortable at one end on the road, and yet is even better on the racetrack. With a Nürburgring lap time of 7 minutes 25, that is actually 7 seconds faster than the much vaunted Carrera GT of 2004, which was Porsche's absolutely top supercar at the time. That is how far the 911 has come as a road car and a track car. Now the new car has a twin turbocharged 3-litre engine. It makes 450 horsepower. Now think about that. The very first 911 turbo of 1976 had just 270 horsepower. And the fact is that the 3.3 litre turbo which arrived in 1978, only had 300 horsepower. So this car has 50% more power than the 911 Turbo of 1978. Okay, it's heavier, it's a bit bigger, but on the other hand it is much faster, it is more economical. In short, it is a much better all-round sports car. The problem for enthusiasts is the complaint. With every generation, with electric power steering, with all the gizmos and gadgets, the car is becoming more remote. But Porsche are aware of these complaints. They've improved the electric power steering. It is now full of feel. The car is absolutely a dream to drive on the road. It's responsive, it turns in on cue. You can have rear wheel steering as an option. It's agile, it's nimble, it's comfortable. And as we'll see later when we go on the track, it is also very much faster. So we're on a twisty road up in the mountains. This is absolutely Carrera country, especially when you've got the rear wheel steering. This is a Carrera 2S, so rear wheel drive only, but it's got the optional rear axle steering, which is a great thing on these roads. Shrinks the car at low speed, makes it more stable at high speed. We can't go terribly fast here because it's very narrow and the line of sight isn't that great, but we can get a very good feel for how the car turns in, back end just following the front. Also get a good feeling for the PCCV brakes, which is always a fantastic. Very bumpy stretch of road here, car just absolutely sails through it. Listen to those downshifts, instantaneous. I'm using the manual mode. Actually press the button to keep it in manual so it won't change up. Instantaneous thrust. You just don't realize this engine is turbocharged, but once it's on song, by God, it goes. Listen to that. Yeah, the car is very quiet from the outside, which it needs to be with these new EU regulations, but inside it sounds fantastic. Definitely a flat six. Definitely an engine raring to go, revs to the skies. The way this engine goes is unbelievable. There's lots of lumps and bumps on this road, but the car just soaks it up. It's unbelievably good. I mean, an old 911 would be lifting its front, jumping all over the place, and you'd be hanging on like grim death. This thing I can, well, I wouldn't, but I could almost take my hands off the wheel.
Stop over after 400 meters.
The front end bite is amazing. It's really reassuring. You can trail brake deep into a turn. The front end just bites and bites and bites, and the back end just comes in. The whole car feels absolutely one. It's a piece. Gives you confidence, real confidence. You just don't realize that the engine is in the back anymore.
Okay, gentlemen, let's roll out.